Thank you for joining For Our Special Kids, where we openly and honestly discuss the magic and the mess of raising a child with special needs. We are thrilled to have you here and hope this time provides you with some wonder and wisdom. I'm your host, Jennifer Lansing. Let's get started. In this episode, I get way out of my comfort zone. Over the past 6 months, I have shared quite a bit about our family and my life and our Teal and lots of different things with you. And I'm pretty sure you've picked up on the fact that I fly by the seat of my pants a lot of the time. It's true. I am very organized in certain parts of my life, and in others, well, let's just say it's not always so pretty. So today I am bringing Laura Hernandez to you, and she is pushing me so far out of my comfort zone. She's pushing me to think differently about how I run my life, how I run Teal's life and our family's life. She's pushing me to look at my patterns, my priorities, my systems, or lack thereof, and the rhythms I want to create for my home and our family. She gives me, and I hope you too, lots of simple ways to add some peace to my heart and space into my home. I hope you enjoy, and let me know what you think. Laura Hernandez is the CEO and founder of Mama Systems, a coaching business that helps moms create peace in their homes through systems. So many of us are simply reacting to life and surviving motherhood that we're missing out on the people we love and the things we want to be doing. Laura's story of fostering, adopting, and special needs has shaped not only her life, but has brought about this amazing company that has coached hundreds of moms to peace in their homes. Laura, we are so excited, me especially, to have you on the episode today.
I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh my gosh. We talked a little bit beforehand. You're never invited into my house until I start implementing your systems. Let's just be honest. Okay. So let's start with something that you actually neglected in your bio, and that is that you have 10 children.
Oh, yes.
Oh, shucks.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about those 10 children. So will you please tell us about your amazing family and then how that really influenced you in starting Mama Systems?
Absolutely. So we have 10 children. My husband and I live in the Dallas area. I've always kind of wanted a big family. I've always wanted to adopt. My husband really wanted 2 kids. And so we had our first 3, and we're those annoying people that it was every pregnancy. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised and shocked. We know how it happens, just to clarify here, but we were just surprised every time. And so after our third, my husband was like, we really need to go ahead and adopt, because if we have any more, I think I'm going to be done. Like I can't handle more than 4 kids. We went to an adoption class at our church, and we really kind of nailed down that neither of us wanted to do fostering, because we knew what huge calling that was, that we didn't want to do that. We didn't want our hearts to be broken over and over again. But it was very clear that that's what we were called to do. And so we signed up, and we got little Andrew in our home a couple months later, and he came straight from the hospital to our home. And so he felt like our baby. Fast forward 8 months, he ends up going back to bio mom. And then fast forward 2 years, we end up moving up to Seattle, and we had our 4th and our 5th biological. She had her, we're not going to count all of her children, just the ones that we have right now, but she had Andrew and then 2 more. And so she had 3, we had 5, we're up in Seattle, they're taken away again. And we're like, oh my goodness, we'll take him. Like, what do we need to do? This is like a really long story, but for time's sake, here we go. We end up moving back to Dallas to be able to foster and adopt them because of the whole interstate compact agreement. None of that worked out. Washington did not want to take them on. We ended up getting these 3 other children. What we didn't know at the time is that they were all special needs children. So we just had our 5th biological. So we had 8 children, 8 and under. 5 of them were in diapers. The look on your face is pretty much how I felt at all times. It was so much. It felt like so much. And I remember just kind of backing up against the wall one day and thinking, like, I've just got to make it to bedtime. Like, if I can just make it to bedtime and keep everybody alive until bedtime, will be great. And finally, I kind of realized, you know what, we can't live this way. Like, at some point, this has to be our normal, that we have these children. Like, we've got all these children, and what are we going to do with them?
I know exactly what you mean. What are we going to do with all that?
Yeah.
That's just honest.
I would like to rephrase that, but I really don't know another way how to. Yeah, so I just had to really break it down. Like, I read books and read, like, I was like, because I really felt like I had our 5 bio kids. Like, I had that down. Life was pretty simple. I had things under control, like, I had systems for things. But adding these 3 new ones in was just a game changer. We had therapists in and out of our house all day. They were going to public school. I was homeschooling our bio ones. There was so much going on. You know, I'd read homeschool books and they didn't talk about people coming in and out of your house all day, or the fact that you have to get kids on a bus and they're going to school and you have meetings and therapy appointments and doctor's appointments. Nothing really seemed to fit our family. And so I finally just sat down. I was like, oh, we've got to figure this out for ourselves. And just really had a come to Jesus moment of like, what do we want to do here? And what can we do without? What's really valuable to us as a family, and how are we going to prioritize that? With all of that, we just kind of came up with unique systems for our family. And through that, I was able to see that process that I walk through for us is a process that I can help other parents walk through in creating systems in their homes. And so I had done that a few times with friends, and it really just gave me life to be able to help them and to see the joy and the peace that came from them putting these systems in place. And from there, Mama Systems was born. And I've just been able to help so many mamas put systems in place so that they can stop living reactionary lives and begin to live peaceful and intentional lives. And more recently, I've kind of really embraced the special needs side of things, because that's really the most difficult thing in the whole world, more so than just being a mom and all of the normal things that every mom has to deal with. Grabbing those appointments and navigating programs through the state and all the things is just so overwhelming and so much. And I wish that somebody would have taken my hand at the very beginning and said, like, hey, you can apply for these things and you'll get help in your home. Hey, we can make this happen and make therapy time so much easier. Like, all the things that we've implemented, I wish somebody would have done that for me. And so that's what I feel most passionate about right now. So that was a really long answer to your question.
Well, I'm still wondering where the other 2 kids come from.
Oh, well, then we had 2 more.
Just can't believe you. Okay. All right. So first of all, you definitely checked the box of Meet Amazing, which is one of our series that we have as well. So first of all, Meet Amazing. You're amazing, Laura. Holy wow. Second of all, I kind of feel like crap about myself because I only have 1, but at the same time, like what you said is very true. Having a child with special needs is different. And for me, going from 0 to 1, and that 1 has special needs, my life was totally out of That's just how I feel sometimes. I mean, just today I got into a huge argument with my husband just because I was frustrated really with myself and how much I tried to achieve. Like, I'll put this into perspective for you. I woke up, had a horrible back pain, really bad cramps, all that stuff. My husband, so nice, rubs my back in the morning, but guess what? That puts me a half an hour behind. So right off the bat, I'm a half an hour behind. I didn't get my meditation in. I didn't get my journaling in. I didn't get up. I didn't get on, the right clothes to make me feel good, all of that. And I get Teal up 15 minutes late. So all this is happening. And then I decide, let's make fresh crepes and homemade oat milk before we take her to school in 45 minutes. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I got into an argument with him because I was frustrated with myself. I love what you said about you had to figure out ways to create more peace in your home. But I think what it really starts with is peace here, peace within ourselves, peace within my own brain, within my own heart. So, do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree.
Okay. I was like, I should probably confirm if you agree with that. Okay. Let's talk about, so I hear the word systems and I think structure. I think too much structure in my head. I think that's no longer fun. I think systems and I think, bleh, I don't like them because I'm spontaneous and I decide to make crepes in the morning and that then backfires on me. Let's talk what you mean about system. Like, what is that for you?
Just taking the example that you're using of this morning, Not to throw you under the bus
Oh,
here.
throw me under the bus. I'm here to learn. Mm-hmm.
But like, let's break that down a little bit and see how that could have gone better. Because I think often we all kind of freak out about systems, because who wants to live a very structured life? Like, you think, okay, it's 1:00, I need to go do X. It's 2:00, I need to go do, whatever. And that's not what we're talking about at all. We're talking about like a structure, like of a building, how it gives us the framework for how we're gonna jive throughout our day. This morning, maybe an example would have been like having the oatmeal made the night before, kind of having the things done ahead of time so that you can have this morning and enjoy your morning and enjoy what you want to enjoy. But you've just kind of planned it out a little bit so that you can actually do those things and not feel rushed and not feel hurried. One of the things I love doing, and I love coaching mamas to do, is batching days. And I know that people talk a lot about this when they're talking about work, but I love doing it in the home as well. So on my kitchen day, for example, I love to chop all my veggies and have them all ready to go. Have any meat marinated for the week, like whatever needs to be pulled out for dinner from the freezer is in the fridge. Like, all those things are ready to go. So that way, when it comes time to, if I were going to make crepes, I could have my batter already made. So that way I'm just pouring the batter, and I still have fresh crepes in the morning, but a lot of that has been taken care of. I'm not cleaning up all the dishes. We're just doing just the crepes and just cooking them. So doing that prep work ahead of time and doing that little bit of planning ahead of time saves you so much time throughout the week, because it simply just does.
Yeah, it just does.
With the crepe example, like if you had that stuff already in the fridge,
yeah,
pour the crepe, and you already had the strawberries cut up and making your crepes like my crepes,
yeah,
then all of that, I could have just thrown it together, right? And it would have been a simple thing. But now I'm like chopping strawberries. I have to wash the cutting board. But with batching, you've already done all of that stuff ahead of time.
Batching, like this concept. So that means you have your meals planned out for the week. Mm-hmm. I am a go to the store after I pick up Teal and plan the meal the night of. Okay, yeah. So I'm seeing it. My fallacies here. It creates more stress. However, I'll give you a great example. We actually hung out with some friends last night, which was great, but it put us all behind schedule, so that when we put Teal to bed, I couldn't make the oat milk like I normally do because I couldn't have the blender running. It's all those things that I'm just starting to realize, like, okay, and you can't make really oat milk on Sunday because by Friday it would be sour. So maybe we just say on Fridays we don't have fresh oat milk.
Yeah.
Priorities.
I love kind of coming up with a very loose plan here. With most of my clients, we just kind of come up with a loose plan for dinner because we just do. But some families are big on having like a full breakfast. We're not. We just throw cereal in a bowl, and we're not that fancy. Even just the idea of batching meals. So we know that on Friday, we're going to do oat milk, or we're going to do frozen pancakes, or whatever that is on Friday. We just know that's what's happening. So it takes off that decision fatigue of having to like think through that. You already know it. So we've already planned it. It's already in the meal plan. You already have all the ingredients. It's all there ready to go. For dinner time, I love doing kind of a loosely planned themed meal.
Tell me about that. What does that mean for you?
On Monday, we have our crock pot days, because I know that I'm going to be at our co-op all day and it's going to be a little crazy. And so I just need it to be done when I walk in the door, because I don't have energy to do anything. On Tuesdays, like our Taco Tuesday. And so that could be anything from like taco salad to like the hard shell meat tacos or fajitas or quesadillas, like anything kind of in that Mexican category. It just cuts down on when I'm meal planning, I'm like, okay, on Tuesday, it's Taco Tuesday. So we haven't done fajitas in a while. So we're going to do fajitas this Tuesday. And Wednesday, we're doing breakfast. This week, we're going to do breakfast burritos. And it just helps narrow all that down for you, because our goal is to kind of get your mind a little bit quieter. In return, everything else will become quieter, more peaceful.
I'm still overwhelmed. I love it, but I'm still overwhelmed. So, because I don't have a quiet mind, and this is good for me to start talking with you about a quiet mind. It sounds like in order to have a quiet mind, you have to have, how do I say this? You have to create space and a plan, like a team plan. Everyone's on the same page kind of concept. How do you create that like team mentality with everyone so that everyone's on the same page and everyone's on board with it? How do you do that?
So the first thing we always do is we want to assess what's going on. We want to look at what we're doing, what we love, what we hate, but we're just assessing what we value in our family and what we don't value. Like, I don't value time in the car. I hate time in the car. I hate driving kids to appointments. And I hate going to appointments. I hate sitting in the lobby waiting for them to come out. Like, it feels pointless to me. And I always felt that way, but then I felt guilty for feeling that way because it's my kids, it's their therapy appointments, and who else is going to drive them? And what would the therapist think of me if I'm not driving them? There was a lot of like, just, hey, sitting with myself and figuring out what's really important to me and where my time is most valuable and what things could be delegated out to other people. My therapy example, I have found that having someone come pick up my kids and take them to therapy and then just bring home the notes has given me so much life. It's like 2 or 3 hours of my day that I get back, and I'm able to kind of run the ship here and be in command here while the other things are happening. I'm more managing my home and more managing the tasks than doing all of them. And so in that way, we're building this team mentality of like, hey, not only are me and my people and my kids, but also our helpers and our attendants are all on the same page.
Basically, I heard you say first thing you have to do is sit down and figure out what is a priority for you. But then also, I would imagine saying, okay, what's a priority for your husband? What's a priority for all the kids?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Well,
yeah. Because it might be like,
bit.
well, no, actually, your kids' priorities don't matter at this point. I mean, I don't know.
I just trust that as a mom, you are going to be, like, hey, this kid needs speech therapy. And that's a priority, like, period, the end. So we need to put those things in play when we're going down the list. But
for example, like I sit there and go, Teal, as much as she loves having a crepe, she doesn't like an anxious mom. It's like, okay, hold on, priorities. What I'm hearing you say is you're gonna work your children's priorities into your own priorities. But for you, it was like, okay, driving does not make me happy. So then who did you reach out to take your kids? Because like for me, talking and seeing the therapist, I feel like I'm way more involved in being able to pull that stuff through at the house. So tell me about how you handle that.
Well, clearly that's a priority for you and for your home, right? And for your family. For me, we weren't getting anything like them working on their Arctic words. They would send home like a Arctic bingo. Like there was nothing magical that I was getting from the therapist while going. And so I think that just depends on your kiddos and what they need and what you need to feel like you're being a successful mama. And in regards to husband, I'm thinking about my husband. I'm like, his only need is that we have meat at dinner. And that's pretty much it. Like he doesn't care about anything else, I don't think. I mean, he does, but not really. That's like his one requirement. It's not a meal if it doesn't have meat. And so that all goes into my meal planning. So that's just kind of,
that's a priority. No, but that's
it all, right?
Okay. Yeah. So like for me, example, priority of, I love having a clean kitchen. I don't like spending the hour that I have to every single day to get a clean kitchen. So I just hired a housekeeper for 3 days a week. She comes in and she helps me clean up and fold laundry and put laundry away. You have something to say. Go.
Well, no, I was just to say, I'm so proud of you. That's awesome.
Oh, that just got implemented this week.
I'm really proud of you. I feel like that's a huge step. And it's such a, for so many mamas, it's such a pride thing and such a, like, I can't do it all and something must be wrong with me. There's a lot of shame there. And so I just like, my heart is to empower you to ask for help. Because once we do that, it just creates such a beautiful intimacy in our community and with our village that we're raising our children in. And it shows our kids that we can't do it all. And that's a great thing to see.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah. So not only for asking others for help, but asking our kids for help too. Of like, hey guys, I need you. This is important. I need you here to help with this.
Okay. So what are your age groups of your children now?
Yeah, our oldest is 16 and our youngest is 3.
So 16, what's the breakdown?
16, 14, 13, 11, 10, 10. They're not twins. 9, 8, 5, and 3.
How many of those children have what I would term, I'm from Iowa, the Midwest, chores? What chores are you giving them, and how does that work into the systems of what you're creating as a family?
All of them have responsibilities, and the 3-year-old does not have official things yet. Like we don't have a chart for him yet, but He has things like throwing away his diaper in the morning and getting his socks and shoes. So he has little things that he does that are simple. How we divvy out chores throughout our day depends completely on the child. But I want to kind of walk you through that process, if that's okay. So I know that in the morning, we all need to do certain things to take care of ourselves and our bodies. And we all need to learn how to do that. I like to call those roommate responsibilities. Those are things like brushing your teeth, eating your breakfast, getting dressed, all of those things. On top of that, if you are not going to physical school in the morning and have to be like out the door, you have another chore on top of that. Helping unload the dishwasher is one that everyone has on their list. And maybe it's picking up the towels in the bathroom too. Kind of age range, abilities, all of these things are taken into consideration. So we're not piling huge responsibility on the 3-year-old. He likes to help with the silverware, but that's not even on his radar. And then moving throughout our day, people have zones that they're in charge of. 5 o'clock is when we do our 5 o'clock jobs. This has been so life-changing for me because at 5 o'clock, this magical thing happens. We have alarms go off and I go into the kitchen to get dinner ready. Everyone else has jobs that they're doing. What this used to look like is me in the kitchen cooking dinner, trying to kind of clean up from the day, people in there watching TV or making a bigger mess, me getting frustrated and bitter that they're just destroying what I've already cleaned up. And I'm doing all the stuff. Like I'm doing all the things for all the people all the time. And it's just exhausting and bitter. And normally the bitterness would turn towards my husband because that's an easy, like, you don't really want to be bitter towards a 3-year-old. So it's all his fault. I don't know what he's doing, but anyway, just bitterness would be dwelling in me. But now it's like, okay, I go in there 5 o'clock, I'm doing dinner. Somebody's setting the table. Somebody's cleaning up their area. I got distracted when I was talking about zones, but everybody has a zone that they're in charge of. So an area that they're in charge of cleaning. So like my son, Sam, his job is to clean up the pillows and the blankets in the living room. And there may be other stuff on the floor in the living room, but his job is pillow and blankets. Matthew's job is the toys, getting the toys in the toy basket. We have it broken down to where if everything happens and everybody does what they're supposed to do, we have a clean house, dinner on the table at 5:30. But it's not that one person is doing all this stuff. It's everybody's doing it together as a team. And it's really felt as this team mentality of we're doing this together and we're getting to the spot. And hear me say that this is not like what I just described as magic. It's not always magic. We have a kid with oppositional defiance disorder. There's opposition all around often. But just dealing with that and knowing the best ways to navigate those things is really helpful.
By the way, I love this. And of course, I'm thinking I should have more children because then I'd have more helpers.
You have to
more
feed
stuff.
more people, more mess, more everything.
I'm sitting there and thinking, okay, I have a 6-year-old who doesn't walk, who doesn't talk, who is showing some signs of frustration and etc. But she also really loves to help. And I'm kind of looking to you for advice. Actually, I can't just say, okay, Teal, pick up your toys. It just doesn't work like that. She just doesn't. I don't know if it's maybe my fault because she doesn't have that much attention and she gets distracted, or because I would probably need to help her. And maybe I just answer my own question is like, okay, for the first month, every time it's time to pick up the toys, I have to help her. And we set that in place. And then it should start helping itself. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. I feel like with our special buddies, it just takes so much longer to enforce these things and to really build in that habit and routine. But after so much repetition, like they really get the hang of it. So, for example, when my kids come home from school, their job is to hang up their backpack, hang up their little harness thing for the bus, get their lunchbox out, empty out their lunchbox, get their new lunch that we've already prepped ahead of time. So it's just in the freezer, a little to-go thing. They go put that in their thing and they put that in the fridge. And that sounds like a lot of steps, but just over and over again of like having attendants walk with them through the whole process and having me walk with them through the whole process for about a month or so, they can do it. Like they're capable of doing all of those things. It's just a matter of having their brains remember that they need to do those steps. But once you kind of build that routine and build that the brain rut, I'm sure there's a more technical term.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
It's creating the patterning. So how many aides do you have helping with the children? That's actually something that I think people are probably really curious about.
Our 3 who are adopted all have fetal alcohol spectrum disorder. And because they were adopted through foster care, they all have Medicaid as well. Those are the caveats to what I'm going to say. They all qualify for Community First Choice, which is a Medicaid waiver program. And in that program, we have aides come to our home, and each kiddo has about 40 hours a week that they have an aide available to them.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. And what I've found, again, this is one of those things I'm like, nobody told me about this. Why is nobody telling people about this? Which is why I'm like wanting to help coach special needs mamas so much more, because I'm like, I may not be able to find you 120 hours a week of help, but there's services out there. There are things out there. The government has things in place out there that you can apply for and then you can get and have people come help you. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because it's been a game changer for me. Like having somebody just here all the time to help with different things is huge. It's huge.
For me, I just give up. I don't have time anymore to track this stuff down, to try to interview people that then they don't show up, or they decide after we've interviewed them, like, oh, boom, nope, I'm not coming. And they're not coming for 12 hours for $12 an hour. Like no one is going to work like that here in Tahoe, California for $12 an hour. They're not going to do that. So do you like help find the people, or is it just helping educate me that there are these options?
It depends on what program we decide to go forward with. If you are interested in doing one of these things, I would say like, hey, we have this special needs course that kind of walks you through just some different scenarios of things you could look into. And we kind of walk through some of those in the course. But because that's to a very wide audience, not very specific to your child, to their disabilities, and to your state or your county, then that's going to be more legwork for you. We also offer private coaching. And in that, like with services and stuff, that's kind of a bigger ballgame. So filling out forms, contacting people, all of that, clearly there's a bigger price tag because it's a whole lot more legwork on
of
my
course.
end, right? So
yeah,
that is a possibility. Some people just get so overwhelmed with it that they give up.
That's what I've done.
Yeah. I feel so passionate about it that I'm like, no, we've got to keep going, because once you have it in place, it is so life-giving. No matter what my cost is, like the other end of it is so worth it. Like it's so worth it, because I'm like, just to find someone good in the home that is helping and loving on your kids and taking things off your plate and freeing up space for you to be able to love your kids and to enjoy them. Like it's just, there's no price tag for that. So
I agree. Let's talk batching for laundry. I'm going to go back, because I think there's some things like food prep. I hear you saying you have Sundays in the kitchen where you food prep for the whole week. And that includes everything from breakfast to lunches to dinner, correct?
Mm-hmm.
For 12 people in your household. How long does a Sunday kitchen day take?
Not that long.
Okay. Do you do your grocery shopping?
Online.
Okay. See, there's another little win.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've just discovered that I'm kind of obsessed with right now is emails.
Oh, what are those?
I've seen this before, but it pops, and I really should get paid by them because I talk about it all the time. I'm so obsessed with it. It's an app that you put on your phone, and it helps you plan your meals. Like I choose 30-minute meals. It'll pop up 7 new meals every week. Here's 7 options for you of 30-minute meals you could choose. So I'll pick a few of those. And then if I don't like all of them, I can go to different meal plans and pick some others from there. But here's where the magic happens. I do that. I plan my menu. It tells me everything I need to buy from the store. It automatically opens up my Walmart app, which is where we do our grocery shopping, but it connects to Instacart, Amazon Fresh, Kroger. It connects to all of those things and kind of walks you through the shopping process. So it's like, this is on your list. So which kind would you like to buy? So you can either buy the really fancy pasta sauce, or you can buy the cheap pasta sauce, then add it to your grocery list, and it all shows up. And then it's just kind of magic. It's all there.
So that's a huge time saver for you. Amazing.
Absolutely.
I love that. All right. What else? Like how do you actually, hold on, let's go back to laundry. Okay. So what do you do for laundry?
We've kind of morphed over the years. We were originally doing all laundry on one day, and it worked, and it was amazing, because what used to happen when I had just 4 kids, I was doing laundry all the time. Because I would be thinking, oh gosh, well, I got to go do her laundry, so it needs to come in, and I need to switch it out, and then I need to fold it, and just all of those little things are constantly going into my brain. But what happens when you switch it to one day, and some of my mamas can't do one day, so we do like 2 days, we break it down a little bit, but it's just a focused time when you're doing it. That's all I do that day is laundry, but I can get it done like in an hour chunk of time.
How many washing machines do you have?
Well, 2, but that's not.
I guess you have 10 now. Okay. You can get all of your laundry done in 1 hour?
Time chunks, because we stick it in, switch it out. Awesome.
Okay.
I go do something else.
Okay.
Switch it in, pull it out, go do something else. I have kids bring in their laundry in their baskets so that it's already sorted. And then I'm not folding anybody's laundry. Like that's just off the table, because I know what happens with the people who don't care about their folded laundry. They don't care about their folded laundry. They make a big mess of it, shove it back in their drawers. Like it doesn't make any difference if I fold it or not. So then the ones that care about it can do their own.
Oh, fascinating. So you would have maybe bins of t-shirts for kids that don't like to have folded laundry. There's like, here's the t-shirt bin. Here's the jeans pants bin. Here's the underwear bin. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So our little ones have different drawers where it's all sorted and it's labeled, and so they can put their stuff away where it belongs.
Yeah.
But that's all part of their responsibility, is putting away their laundry. And so I'm not doing any of that.
Okay.
That saves like so much time, right?
Right. Yeah.
We're switching out laundry. Now our older ones they're in charge of their own laundry. So age 10 and up, they're doing their own laundry, and they're bringing it in, getting it started, switching it out, taking it back to their room.
I love that. You're building life skills for them. I was doing my laundry at 12. I was making meals for the family at 12. I mean, because my mom was like, you need to learn how to do this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're really empowering your children, which is wonderful. I need to start incorporating a lot of this. Let's transition. You mentioned rhythms. What are rhythms, and how do you create those in the home?
When I'm helping a mom kind of design rhythms throughout her day, we start with a very rigid schedule. We do this just to have it built out. And then we kind of throw the times and the whatever to the wayside. Like I don't worry about any of those things. So we'll go through a 30-minute time chunk Excel sheet and fill it in of like, okay, ideally during this time, what do you want to be happening? So after dinner, I would love for everybody to kind of pick up. So I'll take about 30 minutes. And then I would love for everybody to take a shower. I'll take about 30 minutes, get ready for bed, whatever. And so we have these things built out. And then from there, it's kind of like, okay, well, now I know what I want this evening to look like. So after dinner, hey, everybody go take their shower. And then we're going to come sit down. We kind of gave up on reading when we got our 3. It almost feels sacrilegious to say that out loud. But we would try to read, and everybody would be climbing everywhere, and there's no calm. We got into the routine of we watch one show before bedtime, which then calms everyone down, because otherwise everybody's just running around like crazy. After dinner, people get ready for bed, we watch a show, and then we have bedtime. Just building that rhythm, people know what to expect. And I find, especially with our special buddies, I find that it's so much easier for them to go throughout their day when they know what's coming.
Yeah, that's very true.
That rhythm and that routine of like, hey, this is what we're doing next, helps them. And I don't really notice it as we're doing it, but when we have an off day or something's going awry, and Matthew's like, we didn't do this. And he's like, he gets so upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that building those things in, starting with a very structured situation, just so that you have that framework, and then just kind of living it out day to day, just automatically builds in those rhythms and routines.
I'm curious, what time do you wake up, and what time do the kids go to bed, and what time do you go to bed, roughly?
So I've started waking up at 5:45, which is really, that also sounds awful to me.
No, my alarm goes off. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I used to be a sleeper. Like I used to sleep until 7:30, and my husband would take everybody to school or do whatever. But he was traveling so much that I had to start waking up with the kids. And so now I wake up at 5:45 and go to bed. I have to be asleep by 10. Otherwise, this whole thing doesn't go well. Yeah. So just really knowing what I need in this process is a huge piece of that, of like, I need this much sleep. I need to help build rhythm.
You mentioned that also, just in the beginning, is you got to figure out what's a priority for you. For me, working in a meditation and a journaling time is really important to me. And I didn't get it this morning. And guess what happened? I got in an argument with my husband, like, boom. It's figuring out what's a priority and then really trying to stick to it, because it makes everything run better. Yeah, I hear you. What time do the kids go to bed? Obviously, you've got a whole age range, but
depending on the child, we have some that go to bed at 7, 7:30. 8:30, and then our older ones go to bed probably around 10.
Yeah, and they have homework and they're in high school and all that. Yeah, much different lifestyle. Well, and they're all home. The older ones are homeschooled.
Yes.
So that changes things up a little bit too. I mean, that just adds a whole nother batching layer. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we'll bring you on and talk about that, because I don't know how anyone homeschools. So let's end with, how do you as a mom find any space and time for yourself? What tips do you have for me as a mom and all of our listeners, even, dads and caregivers, that can find time for themselves?
I mean, that is huge, right? And that kind of falls into the self-care category. I think that so many of us we're the first to go. We're the first to fall off the priority list. I always want to encourage mamas just to switch that thinking around, because I know that probably for you, for me, we're going to be doing this for forever. As long as we shall live, I feel like we're going to have people in our home that we're taking care of. And it's just kind of a mind shift of that the world doesn't really get. Like I think that us as special needs parents, even more so, this needs to be a priority, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, we have nothing to give our kids, and we're going to be worn down and exhausted and depleted. And so we really need to make that a priority. Kind of one of the things that I feel very passionate about is self-care. And so I created a self-care guide that I would love to share with your audience as well. But in that, we talk about, hey, just assessing, like, what do you need? What does your body need? What does your soul need? What does your mind need? And how are we going to make those things happen? So let's come up with a really logical way to think through those things and to be able to ask for those things. If spending time with friends is really important to you, what does that look like? Is that like, hey, every day I need to see somebody, or every week, or every month? And does that need to be a girls' night? Can it be with family? Like, what does that look like that we're really feed you? And just taking that time to really plan that out is big, because we don't do that. I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed spending time with friends, but it goes nowhere.
Right.
Having those really thought out of like, I need one-on-one time with this girlfriend every week so that she can encourage me and we can move forward in this, or we can have that time to share, whatever that is. And then I need to figure out how to make that happen, because nobody else is going to do that for you. Nobody's going to come in and take care of you. Absolutely not. You have to do it yourself. I know I need that time. How am I going to make that happen? I have all these kids at home. I can't just leave them all. Like, I need to figure out a sitter situation, or I need to ask my husband, and if I'm nervous that he's going to say no, like, how are we going to, my husband wouldn't say no, just by the way, but I've worked with other people that it's like,
yeah,
I don't think he'll say yes to that. Like, I think that's too much to ask of him, or whatever. But really just kind of thinking through compromises and thinking through things. So that guide kind of walks you all through that.
That would be amazing if you could share that. Is that an online course, or just a PDF downloadable?
Just a PDF downloadable.
Okay. And so they can go to our show notes and we can put a link to where that is on your website. But I do want to make sure that we honor, it's mamasystems.net. So if people want to know more about how to work with you, it's mamasystems, plural.net. So I think that's huge. What are a couple of other self-care tips that you do encourage?
There's definitely like the bigger things of like, hey, do you need to be seeing a counselor to deal with grief for this thing you've been thrust into and haven't asked
having
for,
a child with special needs? I think there's a lot of grief that comes on with that, and a lot of joy, but yeah, that's a really good one.
Like those bigger things, right? That I think we often, a weekly counseling appointment sounds like such a time waste, but that work that you do is so helpful and creates so much more space and more peace and more joy. That's kind of just a no-brainer to me on this end of things. Doing things like doctor's appointments and stuff like that. I feel like there's those big ones that people often neglect, but then there's like little ones throughout our day that I feel like we can put into place. And an example of that would be when my kids come home from school, it's often like our whole home just kind of increases in energy and things feel more stressful, more chaotic, just automatically the bus coming to our house. It gets more chaotic. Lighting a candle and turning on piano music helps bring that down a little bit. And I know that. And so if I can set a timer on my phone 30 minutes before they come and get those two things going, oh my goodness, it makes such a difference. And it's not a huge expense or anything. It's just a little something that I can do to help bring down the chaos in the home and take care of myself during that time.
I'm going to set an alarm right now, because that is huge. Like for me, it would be turning on the diffuser, putting something in there that smells yummy, and turning on piano music. You're totally right. And it just, even just thinking about it, I got relaxed. Oh my gosh. I just like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Oh, I love this. So many amazing tips, Laura. I think you probably shared about 5% of the knowledge within your head and within all of your systems. I really encourage people to go check you out. It's mamasystems.net. You also are on Instagram and Facebook, and both of your handles are Mama Systems, correct? And your website's beautiful and you're very approachable. I don't feel judged. I think you would sit down with me and say, okay, I know, Jen, I know this is your tendency. I know this is your personality. I know you have 2 businesses that you run. I know this is important. And we would find a solution together. So I feel like you just bring such a good energy to support people. So I'm just thrilled that you spent some time educating me and our listeners. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Really, as we were talking about earlier, like you're creating mental space that then gives us heart space to give back to ourselves or to our children. And I really love that concept. So I think you're doing a really beautiful job with that. So thank you. I do have a final closing question for you. And that is, what is one word that you would use to describe a child with special needs?
This may not be encouraging, if that's okay. I think
there's no right or wrong answer.
No, it feels that way though. So I realize you asked for one word. I think my word would be hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think often looking around on like Instagram and stuff, it looks like it should be happy and everybody is having a great time advocating for their kids. And our story has just been incredibly hard. And I don't think that's talked about a lot. And so while it's not encouraging, I just want other moms to know they're not alone. If that's the only word they can come up with, it's okay.
It's hard.
Yeah.
There's truth in my opening that says it's the magic and the mess. It's going to sleep at night sometimes and crying, or realizing I might have these children in my home for my entire existence. It's hard. I appreciate you being honest. Thank you very much for spending time with us. And I know people will reach out to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found 1 or 2 meaningful nuggets of information to make your day better. If you think there's value in what we do, please take a moment to tell another friend, family member, or a caregiver. We'd love to hear from you at forourspecialkids@gmail.com. You can send in a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like to learn more about, or if you'd like us to highlight a certain person, please send that information to us. It makes our show so much better and so much more valuable for you. Our Facebook and Instagram handle is For Our Special Kids. And finally, remember to witness the wonder and the wisdom within yourself and others. Until next time.